People are starting to call him the teleprompter president. It's so bloody obvious. That's why he never looks ahead. It's right, left, because that's where the screens are. Hello, Barack, over here. Sorry, I'm reading. And this is why you're getting the policy of Obama saying Palestinian refugees belong to their own state and do not have a literal right to return to Israel. He's talking about the people who fled, 800,000 of them, at the time of the bombing Israel into existence in 1948, and have never allowed to come back to their own land. People forget about this. White phosphorus, pepper bombing, the most crowded piece of land on the planet, the Gaza Strip. We don't target civilians, we just bomb where they live. Unbelievable. We're just protecting ourselves. No, it's a slaughter. And now I'm hearing, oh, there's a lot of anti-Israeli sentiment. Do you know something? I have a way around that. Stop slaughtering innocent people from the sky, okay? End of story. And it will go away. And this is important. This is important for what's planned to come. We now have a situation in Israel where the extreme of the extreme has taken the reins of power. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's talked about, these are his words summarized, he wants a violent reoccupation of Gaza to liquidate its elected government. And he pledges to thwart the Iranian threat once and for all. He's now got this guy, Lieberman, as his foreign minister, and this man's so far right, he topples over, right? And he's got Barak as the defense minister in this new government, and he was defense minister that oversaw the pepper bombing of the Gaza Strip. And this is Martin van Creveld. He's a well-known historian in Israel, and this is what he said publicly. We possess several hundred atomic warheads and rockets and can launch them at targets in all directions, perhaps even at Rome. Most European capitals are targets for our Air Force. We have the capability to take the world down with us, and I can assure you that that will happen before Israel goes under. They have a policy of not saying if they've got nuclear weapons or they haven't. They just don't talk about it. And a guy called Mordecai Vanunu, a wonderful Israeli man, went to jail for, I think it was 18 years, for exposing the fact publicly that they did have nuclear weapons. And now we've got this thing, oh, Iran's going to have nuclear weapons. What? The idea, and we're seeing it almost complete now, from the start, was to drive out the Palestinian people, not be at one with them, not share power with them, not share the land with them. The green bits are Palestinian land over the period of time up to the year 2000, and it's gone on since then, as illegal settlements are put in Palestinian land. And one of the people that lives in an illegal settlement is Lieberman. As an Australian newspaper said this week, he must be the only foreign minister in the world who doesn't actually live within the borders of his own country. And the Middle East policy in Obama's administration is by Bilderberg, George Mitchell, Bilderberg, Council on Foreign Relations, by the notorious little Kissinger, Richard Holbrooke, who played a major part in breaking up the former Yugoslavia in wars, etc., so it could be absorbed into NATO and the European Union, which it is being now. He's Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations Trilateral Commission. He's now in charge of Pakistan-Afghanistan policy. And this man, who is an arch-Zionist called Dennis Ross, he's now in charge of Iran policy. What it's building to is an effort, and Brzezinski is behind this among many others, to create a conflict out of the Middle East, and in this area we're looking at, to bring about a third world war. And the third world war will be, and this was been written about in the past, that there were going to be 3 world wars to bring this new world order into being. A war that would finish off the superpowers and bring the whole world under the control of a world government, which will then dictate to every country.
We have a responsibility to act.
Bomb, 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 why bomb Iran? Why bomb, bomb, why bomb Iran? Bomb, 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 why bomb Iran? Bomb, 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 why bomb Iran? Bomb, 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 why bomb Iran? You got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Why bomb, why bomb Iran? Why bomb, 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 bomb, why bomb Iran? You got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Why bomb Iran? IAEA says no, no nukes there, but we're good to go. Bomb Iran, bomb Iran, bomb Iran. You got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Bomb Iran, bomb Iran, bomb Iran, bomb Iran, bomb Iran. You got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Why bomb Iran? Netanyahu, Netanyahu, Netanyahu says it's all for you. Bomb Iran, bomb Iran, bomb Iran. You got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Bomb Iran. World War III, World War III. Albert Pike says it's meant to be. Bomb Iran, bomb Iran, bomb Iran. They got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Bomb Iran. They got rockets and Russia, China, and the tanks bomb Iran. Bomb Iran.
The time for our leadership is now. It was the United States and the United Kingdom and our democratic allies that shaped a world in which new nations could emerge and individuals could thrive. And even as more nations take on the responsibilities of global leadership, our alliance will remain indispensable to the goal of a century that is more peaceful, more prosperous, and more just. The nature of our leadership will need to change with the times. Shortly after 9/11, that our war is not against Islam. Bin Laden was not a Muslim leader. He was a mass murderer of Muslims. Indeed, al-Qaeda has slaughtered scores of Muslims in many countries, including our own. So his demise should be welcomed by all who believe in peace and human dignity. I receive this honor with deep gratitude and great humility. It's an award that speaks to our highest aspirations, that for all the cruelty and hardship of our world, we are not mere prisoners of fate. And yet I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the considerable controversy that your generous decision has generated. In part, this is because I am at the beginning and not the end of my labors on the world stage.
So all eyes are now on Pakistan, where Osama bin Laden was killed, and reporters are suggesting that the government was sheltering the terrorist leader for years. But how is this possible if the country is indeed one of the major victims of terrorism? I mean, do you think that's really believable?
Let me say, first of all, what I have to say about bin Laden is based on a 500-page, rather exhaustive book that I've written, 9/11 Synthetic, Made in USA. I think this is a completely manufactured, invented story created out of whole cloth by the U.S. intelligence community, primarily for the purpose of targeting Pakistan, and there's been a build-up to it. We had a very harsh statement condemning Pakistan in one of the terror reports of the U.S. government. We had Admiral Mullen visiting Pakistan, accusing them of being accomplices of the terrorist Haqqani network. We then had the CIA limited hangout operation known as WikiLeaks targeting Pakistan. The Washington Post putting that on the front page. The center of gravity of Al-Qaeda was always Pakistan, and now we have this manufactured story. Abbottabad, allegedly the hiding place, the lair of bin Laden for the past 6 years. It's totally fantastic, but the purpose is clear enough. They're targeting Pakistan for more attacks. The Chinese government has understood this immediately. We have a very strong statement from China this morning, basically saying to the U.S., if you mess with Islamabad, you will be messing with Beijing, and this will get into something much bigger than you thought. The main danger right now is false flag terror events, in reality organized by the U.S. or by NATO intelligence, that will be blamed on Pakistan. And indeed, we have this from several CIA people in the media here saying there will be revenge terror attacks, but they'll be coming from the Inter-Services Intelligence Network. That is the much demonized ISI of Pakistan. And you can see this is a complete setup. So people need to be vigilant in that regard.
The U.S. says it has photos of slain bin Laden. ABC News is reporting right now that they may in fact release them today. But why don't you think they release them right away, get all the skepticism over with over the death of bin Laden?
I can't speculate about that, but I'm sure that whatever they release will essentially be a fraud. The real bin Laden has been dead for a long time. And for the last 6, 7, 8 years, you've been hearing primarily audio statements from a kind of production company located probably in Pakistan.
All right,
unemployed actors.
I'm sorry, Webb. I'm going to move on here now because this is one of the many conspiracy theories that we've been talking about yesterday and today. Yes, they're out there. You're talking about it. We had a guest talking about it yesterday. The Taliban's talking about it. I'm going to move on. Many agree that the U.S. foreign policy prompted the attack of, prompted the dawn of Al-Qaeda back in the 80s. That's no secret. Now it's supporting rebels in Libya who allegedly have links with extremism. How long do you think the U.S. may continue a pattern of arming extremists or possible extremists who later there's blowback from?
Well, this is the tremendous contradiction, is that the United States is openly supporting Al-Qaeda forces, which represent a large part of the Benghazi Rebel Council in Libya. In Libya or in Yemen, Al-Qaeda is it's one of the main tools of the U.S. in destabilizing the government. One suspects that in Syria and in Algeria that's also the case. But then, in sharp contradiction, if you're Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan or Pakistan, then you have to be bombed. And this is an unsustainable contradiction. It just makes absolutely no sense. I think what we're actually seeing is the decline of the U.S. empire. If you look back at the fall of the Spanish, the French, the British empires, in those cases, the fall of the empire has been accompanied by world wars. Now, if the United States decides to go after Pakistan, trying to split Pakistan into Sindh, Baluchistan, Punjab, Pashtunistan, you're going to get a collision between the United States and China. And at that point, Russia will also have to respond in some way. What you're seeing is how the decline of empire can lead to war by miscalculation. The U.S. ruling elite is in a frenzy because they are trying to stop Saudi Arabia and Pakistan from leaving the empire, from making a jailbreak, from bolting out from under U.S. hegemony. So that is why they've chosen to liquidate hundreds of billions of dollars they've invested in the mythological figure of bin Laden. They wouldn't be doing that if it weren't something big. It goes far beyond Obama's fortunes at the polls. It's an attempt to try to save the U.S. position in the world.